I'm just gonna check, but it looked like a $5 bill on the ground back here. And since our $5 bills now are plastic, or a plastic-like material, I just want to check. My wife hates this about me. I'll go driving along. Not there's a $5 bill. She hates it. Well, she doesn't hate it. She just thinks it's hilarious that I go places, and when I'm driving, I'm checking the road out. When I'm walking, I'm checking the road out. And today it paid off. There you go, $5 bill. They're plastic, so they don't lay like a paper bill will lay flat on the ground when it's wet. These stand upright. So they're a little easier to spot. I found 20 bucks about a month ago driving home in my truck. Actually, it was in my van. And just checking to see if there's any more lying around. You never know. Wouldn't it be cool to find like a heap of money on the ground? Not like just on the ground scattered, but maybe like a heap of money in a big old duffel bag. Like, for example, let's just go over this for a second, shall we? Because I think about this once in a while. In fact, I think about it probably more than once in a while. When I'm doing something boring at work, I let my mind go places. And one of the places I go is, what would happen if I found this big bag of money, just stuffed, like a big duffel bag? What would you do? What would you do? Let's think about it for a second. So you're out riding in the bush, and you're kind of blazing a trail, and in the middle of nowhere, you find this bump in the trail, like covered with like pine cones and pine needles and moss. You go over and you kick it, and it's a bag full of money, and obviously it's been there for a while. My blinker was on. Sorry, I was just totally thrown off by that $5 bill. So it's been there for a while. It looks like it's been there for, years. But the money is, still, it's kind of got wet over time, but it's still recognizable. It still has all its numbers. What do you do with it? Okay, so let's put a value on this bag. Let's say this bag has in it, just for fun, $1 million. $1 million. So, I just thought, just now, I wonder if that $5 bill came out of that guy's truck who was parked there. Oh well, he didn't say anything. I picked it up, I got it. Anyways, back to the money. $1 million. What would you do with it? Now here are your options. Obviously there's going to be options. Option number one, you do nothing. You just leave it and you leave. Okay? I don't think anyone's going to pick option number one. And if you do, okay, well, that's fine. But I don't think you would. Option number two, you throw that duffel bag on your shoulder and you head out. You go home. You count it all up. You're like, woohoo, $1 million! And then for the rest of your life, you just sort of take 100 here, 100 there. Maybe, buy cars with it or whatever. Maybe put a little bit here and there in a bank account. Nothing to look too, obvious to prying federal eyes, but that's what you do. Number three option. Third option is this. You take the money to... Now, of course, you had your GoPro on while you were doing this, right? So it's all on camera. So you take your laptop with the footage to the police station and this big duffel bag, and you're like, hey, I was out riding and this is what happened. You show them the video, and then you bring in the duffel bag, and they're like, wow, that's a lot of money. And so this is what's probably going to happen. Well, first of all, you decide. What are you going to do? Number one, nothing, just right away. Number two, take it home and, just sort of use it as you need it over the rest of your life. Or number three, take it to the police station, tell them the story, and turn it over to them. What are you going to do? Ding, 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 ding. Okay, that's enough time. You've got your choices? All right. I choose myself, and I'll explain why. I choose number 1. No, I'm just kidding. I would never do that. Heck no, I'm not walking away from $1 million. I choose number 3, and here's my reason why. Number 2 reason, you really can't go crazy with it. Like, it's not like you can go out and buy a house with $1 million cash. You can't go out and buy a car with cash, because that puts up signals, and they will, depending on the area. I mean, you're buying used cars, you could probably get away with it for the the type of individual that's selling it. Perhaps he was a little shady. But yeah, in general, you're not going to be able to use that money as effectively as you would like to. So here's my reason for number 3. You turn it into the police. They fill out the report. 90 days later, at least where I'm from, 90 days later, it's yours, because no one's claimed it. A, because it's been there for years. B, even if they knew it was there, no one's going to walk in and go, oh yeah, man, I heard somebody picked up my $1 million that I lost. I left it in a duffel bag out in the middle of nowhere. It fell out of my Cessna. Yeah, we were doing a drop, and my helper, he's an idiot. He's no longer with us. Threw out the duffel bag instead of the other packages. So I'd like that back. So no one's going to do that. Case in point, several years ago in Vancouver, an off-duty policeman was walking his dog in a city park. He came to a bench, and under the bench, near a garbage can, was a backpack full of money. Turns out there was $1 million in this backpack, or this duffel bag, whatever it is. So, of course, it was turned in, and the story broke, and then the police said, hey, if this is your money, come and claim it. But nobody would come and claim it. And the court, after the 90 days, was, obligated to give the money to the cop. Now, there were a couple lawyers that came in and said, I represent an individual who owns that money. And the cops were like, oh, that's great. Well, have him come in, answer some questions, and we'll turn the money over to him. Which didn't happen. Why? Because it was drug money. No grandmother goes out with her life savings and leaves it in a park in a bag. So yes, most likely, I would say confidently that it was drug money. So eventually then, now that I believe the money sat in the court's possession for quite some time, but then it was eventually turned over to the cop. He got it with, I believe, if you're from Vancouver and you know which store I'm talking about, I believe the judge recommended to him that he not spend any of it for a year, just in case. So, sorry for the sniffles, but just in case. So I don't know what actually became of it. I imagine after a year he probably went out and went on a vacation. I don't know. So that's what I would do. I would turn it in, and 90 days later it would be mine. I don't know how it works where you're at. Tell me if it's different. But generally with now the fact that it was probably drug money, I thought would be a difficulty, but apparently in this case, the cop's case, it wasn't. So I'm going to assume that this duffel bag with $1 million in it in the middle of the woods most likely is drug money, and I'm going to count on precedents being set, and I'm going to get it. Woo! And I can't wait. So these are some of the things I think about occasionally, finding money, and I think I'm the right guy for the job because I find money all the time. And when I say all the time, I'm not talking like every week, but there's probably five, maybe 6 times a year where I find money on the ground. I find wallets, I find keys, stuff like that, because when I ride and when I walk and when I drive, yeah, I watch the road, but I'm also doing this. And there's many times where I see something and I'll turn around, I'll go back, and it's nothing. But there are also many times, like today, where I go back, and I wasn't gonna go back. I was like, I don't know. I just sort of, I wasn't even talking to you. I was like, I don't know, it's probably just a cigarette package. But I went back, sure enough, $5. Boo! Bam! So, there you go. Comment below what you think. And I'm hoping that one day one of us finds money. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.